Welcome to the March edition of Ask the AD with Weber State Athletic Director Jerry Bovee. I am Paul Greer from WeberStateSports.com, and we are now in the spring season. First day of spring underway now, and that means we transition from the winter sports to the spring sports. We're going to spend a little bit of time kind of reviewing the basketball teams this season, men's and women's basketball teams. Both teams win 20 games. Obviously a little difficult time at the Big Sky tournament, but both big teams win 20 games. Overall, your perspective on the season?
Overall, I was happy. I mean, we win 20 games. We saw some good things. The women had a good run for a bit there. The men had a good run in the middle of the season, and you know, we were on both squads. I think our rotations were fairly thin, and so you got to hope that everything lines up to be able to do well in the postseason. We had some key injuries on the men's side down the stretch that really affected our finish.
Yeah.
And
you know, on the men's side that Coach Ray talked about, just kind of ran out of gas a little bit there at the end, and we saw that in Reno, and that was one reason why you didn't choose to play in a postseason tournament.
yeah, as we talked, and you know, when you've got some key people that are just banged up, Ryan was a little banged up, and Jarek, there's a couple of little issues going on that if you get into those things, you want to be able to represent. And, in the end, we felt like it was best for the student athletes to wrap it up and get ready for next year.
You had a couple invites playing a couple of the CBI or the CIT.
Yep.
But
Both. So we've had a good run in some of those. Obviously, you have to get through the disappointment of not being in the NCAA tournament. It's NCAA, second NIT. The NIT tournament's become very competitive and good. You look at the teams that are in there headed toward New York or trying to get to New York, and they're good teams. When those don't happen, then you got to get your head shifted around. Is there a purpose for our fan base and for our student athletes to continue to play? And then, because there's an investment involved in that, and it felt like on the men's side that it was probably best to wrap it up and begin to get ready, get healthy, and get ready for next year. On the women's side, you know, that was disappointing the way that ended, and there was still some energy to continue on. They won a game, lost a tough one this week, but I thought they showed out well, got to 21 wins on the season, and a lot to build on for next year.
Had some success there too. For the Wildcat men's team, again, won 9 straight games during the season at one point and got to 20 wins. Lose 2 seniors, but a lot coming back. Of course, Jarek Harding, a first team all district player, all conference player. You had in your time in Reno spent some time with the other Big Sky ADs and the conference as well, and discussed several things on the basketball side, including scheduling.
Yeah, we met a couple of different times there. It's a good time to meet because for the most part we're all there, and we were already planning to push toward the 20 games in conference in the 2019-20 season, and talked extensively about, and it was really based on the fact that as we got to look at an 18-game schedule with an odd number of schools, what we term in our area a lone wolf, was someone that wouldn't have a traditional travel partner. The schedule really was not good. You would have weekends where you may be on the road on a Thursday, come back on a Saturday, whereas right now we're used to playing in that tandem road home, whatever, and it affects the women's side in conjunction with it, and it just wasn't palatable for travel, for the cost associated with. You could be at home against Southern Utah on a Thursday night and jump on a plane to go to Missoula for a Saturday night game, and that just really wasn't something we wanted. So we're making the push immediately to get to the 20 games. There's still some work that needs to be done. A few of the programs have already scheduled up, and so getting out of some of their contracts, they've got to work through that. But for the most part, everyone was really ready to make the move now.
That for this next
Gets
season.
us 2 more Division I home or games, home and away, and that with the Beehive Classic, we did for the first time ever last year. We've talked about have a guarantee game at home. We're going to continue to try to figure that out and get our home schedule to be better. It also brings up the discussion on non-Division I games and how many of those are the right fit. You know, we played a few this year. One was a freebie because of the tournament we played in. So we'll kind of have to gauge that going forward where we are in that space.
So going to 20 games, I already have Utah Valley, BYU, and Fresno State scheduled to be at home this upcoming season too.
Should be a good
and
home
tournament,
schedule.
another tournament in the Bahamas.
That's right.
As well.
Yeah.
So should be pretty much set if they go to 20 games.
Yeah.
Now the spring sports begin. Spring football is underway. Coach Hill just received a huge honor as named the Utah Coach of the Year by the Utah Sports Commission as part of the Governor's State of Sport Awards. That's for all levels of athletics in the state, from high school to college to pro to amateur, Olympic, everything. That's a huge honor.
It's a great honor, and Coach Hill's deserves that. We had a great run, or a historic run. That now we've got a taste of it. We want to get back to that every year. That's the fun part of this. But he deserves that, and I'm proud of him, proud of the way that he's built this program and carried himself, and look forward to being with him on that honor.
Sure. Spring football is underway and wraps up with the spring game on April 14th. A big push, of course, this summer in athletics will be season ticket sales for football.
We're underway and on sale. I know that's traditionally here a little earlier than our folks are used to being involved with, but you want to capitalize on the excitement of that, and we're seeing people renew and get ready to go. So we hope that you'll come up and join us for the spring day. It'll be a little different game, kind of a different format, offense versus defense, but it'll be fun to see our new players and get a look at the Wildcats going into.
And one more football note: your new building here on the northwest end of Stewart Stadium, plans coming along, and we'll start soon.
Yeah, we're in design. Still in design. That takes about 6 to 8 months to get all the design and architectural drawings and everything done. I suspect we could break ground at the end, in the August time frame, and still hopeful that we can be in that building in the fall of 19.
Great. Other spring sports now underway now, of course, at Weber State. Softball begins Big Sky Conference play this week. Track and field will begin here soon with outdoor track, and golf and tennis are underway as well. It's always things going on.
Yeah, we're hoping the weather now starts to change with all that, right? It's been up and down. It's been a rough weather for spring, but the teams are playing. Sac State comes to town in a couple of weeks. We'll be on the road, I think, at Southern Utah this week and ready to go. So it's a fun time of year.
It is.
And it's fun to see the fans come out, softball fans come out, and I love that time of year, being out in the sun. And
for sure. We'll host the Big Sky softball championships as well in May. And then another thing that happens this time of year is kind of a year-end review and year-end banquets and award ceremonies. We have academic and athletic awards coming up over the next several weeks too, and that's fun to review the great accomplishments.
Yep. Yeah, this is banquet season. Our first one is this week with the academic awards. That's a fun night for us. Sometimes that gets with all of the athletic things that we're involved with, but that's really one of our core tenets of what we do, and our student athletes are amazing. We saw a story come out recently about Giamatti Welch Coleman and her triumphs over hard times, and at these awards banquets, you kind of get to know your student athletes a little bit more. Some of those stories come out, their experiences, and we have a lot to be proud of. I think we hit a 77 graduation success rate this year. That's much higher than the normal student body. Now we have more focus on that and more attention to the academic side for eligibility, but we have a lot to be proud of with the way that our student athletes handle themselves.
Well, always a great time to be a Wildcat, especially now, and a great season that we've had, and look forward to more in the spring sports, and it's just a great time to continue the success.
It is. I know we talk a lot about the fact that there will be a lot that we're disappointed. I mean, we're used to success here. Basketball's won 20 games in Coach Ray's time here.
8 times.
8 times, and so we get used to that. We expect a lot, and they do too. But I also have noticed in the week or two since that, the coaches are back to the drawing board. They're looking at they just go right on the road and start recruiting again to fill some holes, and it continues. I know the coaches are working on offense and defensive schemes and how we continue to get better, and that's what you want. They're a hungry bunch of coaches that want to continue to get better, and I love working with people that are driven to continue to improve. So there's a lot to be excited about, and we're going to get better. We're going to continue to improve and be a force in the Big Sky Conference.
Thank you, Wildcat fans, for all your support. We'll talk with you again next time on our Ask the AD, and thanks for following the Wildcats, and go Weber State.